Hey, everybody. It's Sunday, June 2nd, 2024. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer. And today we're going to talk about the transits that are coming up this week. And we're going to do pull a tarot card, and do an angel reading for each one of the signs. So welcome. We do this every Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I'm a little bit early in the room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain a little bit about how this works. I do these readings based on whole sign Western astrology. So when I'm talking about a sign, I'm talking about the rising sign. These videos are also applicable to the moon sign as well as the sun signs. And if you have 3 or more personal planets in any one house or sign, this is applicable to you as well. So let's jump in. Well, I think maybe I should give a minute. It isn't quite 11 yet. I just posted the June monthlies, so if you are new to my channel, you might want to check those out. And I have done a video about Jupiter moving into Gemini, which is very much, we're going to feel that this week. All right. Good morning, Katerina. It's good to see you. Did you get your project finished? I always think I think you were the one that was doing an ancestry project at your church. And I just think that's so fascinating. Oh, yes. Good. I love that show, Finding Your Roots, on PBS. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this week. I don't know if any of you have felt it, but I have definitely felt Jupiter's entry into Gemini. It felt like everything just started to speed up a bit. And this week, we're going to experience the ruling planet of Gemini, Mercury, moving into Gemini and forming a conjunction with Jupiter. This is kind of interesting because Jupiter is considered in detriment in Gemini, which is the furthest place from its home. And yet Jupiter rules foreign travel and diversity and adventure and exploration. Because when we go to a foreign country, we definitely are exploring and experiencing new things. So here, I personally believe that Jupiter and Mercury coming together is sort of this marrying or this awareness and desire to integrate my spiritual practices, the things that I have been nurturing in my life, fostering, that move me into the direction of what I want to experience versus what I have been experiencing. And so there's a sort of an opposition, and yet there's a potential for complementary energy. I feel like Jupiter is exploring the everyday mind as it traverses through Gemini. It's exploring how the human gets tethered to their habits and to their obligations in their daily lives, their work, getting their kids to school, picking them, all those errands that we run. We also have Venus and the Sun currently in Gemini. And by the way, happy birthday, Gemini. Hi, Jules. Welcome. So there's quite an energy going on in Gemini. And Gemini is, of all the zodiac signs, it's sort of neutral. It's genderless. It is curious. It likes to interact with other people. So as Mercury enters its home, and it starts to explore the neighborhood again and see what's been going on since it's been going around the zodiac, Jupiter is going to be also aware of, how do I implement the bigger ideologies in my life? And the other thing that I think is super powerful about this too is that Jupiter rules business and commerce and influencing and marketing and publishing and branding. Putting this on the Jupiter in the sign of our everyday, sort of the way we think, the way we act, the way we think is the way we behave, and the way we speak, and the way we hear and filter things. So I kind of feel like there's the potential for people who are aware to expand their everyday work life or their everyday ability to make money. You could even find yourself for the first time publishing something or starting a blog or starting a podcast or finding those things growing. I really feel like this year before Jupiter moves into Cancer is really powerful. And this is about kind of setting up those everyday habits that call forth the universe to support my endeavors. So I tell people all the time when they're getting readings that sometimes it's hard to meditate, to calm the mind, to sit down and, just carve out that time. But what you can do is most people shower every day. And even if you don't, you can use your shower time to connect with spirit, to set your intentions, to do your prayer work. And I think that's a super powerful exercise. And I think this is where you'll start to see that the universe is starting to bring in those elements, those people, those situations that support the bigger picture, Jupiter. Now, this week, we're also going to have a new moon in Gemini, and this is going to be conjunct Venus at 16 degrees. And I think this is very powerful because Venus is all about my skills, my money, my comfort, my security, my partnerships. And this is an opportunity to plant the seeds in the dark of night for yet another experience, an elevated experience. Jupiter broadening things, bringing more wealth. We do see a square to Saturn during that new moon, and Saturn is stationing to go retrograde at the end of the month. Saturn, if you look at, I mentioned this in the monthlies, Saturn moves maybe a degree and a half the whole month. So it's literally standing in the energy of Pisces and asking each one of us, have we started to implement those divine laws into our everyday experience? Pisces naturally squares Gemini. And I think there's a little bit of, that's kind of an interesting dynamic because we have the fish, the two fish, and then we have the twins. And so there's this feeling of back and forthness in that square. And that's why I think that it's so powerful during the new moon and during Mercury's transit, which will be very quick through Gemini, to be aware of my mind, to be aware of how some of it runs on its own. Some of it is, we forget that the mind is a muscle. It has an imprint. Not every thought is actually a conscious thought. Sometimes we have thoughts that just are a loop. So this is an opportunity to plant the seeds for your awareness of the loop, deciphering whether you listen to the loop, and then giving yourself an opportunity to direct your thoughts into a broader, more expansive way. We also see that the new moon is going to make a trine to the south node. And that trine very much feels like it could be an awareness of old thoughts, of old habits, of in some ways where my sense of wanting to be cooperative might actually be diminishing my voice in a situation. I think whenever a planet is, when you have a planet in your natal chart retrograde, and Saturn in Sagittarius is an interesting one because Sagittarius rules the bigger thoughts, the connection to the angelic realm, the religious beliefs I have, the laws I live by on some level. So when it's retrograde, there can be the soul calling forth a more clear path to deciphering that energy. So Saturn being the rules of government, Sagittarius in some ways being the judicial system. We can also say that Saturn can be the rules of anything that limit us. And Sagittarius can also represent religious beliefs. So there could be a revisiting of all those structures for you, Katerina, to decide if they're working for you on a soul level. So I think this is really powerful. So this week, that's basically for me, I know what I wanted to mention. One other thing that I think is super important is that as Mercury enters Gemini and joins Jupiter in a conjunction, both planets will trine Pluto retrograde. That's about 1 degree in Aquarius. And I think this is about that revisiting. It's like I'm reinventing myself. I have new thoughts. I'm moving myself towards what I want to experience in the future, not just in this lifetime, but in all the lifetimes that I may experience in whatever realms those are. And I think that this awareness of that marrying of my everyday thoughts, the things that have been imprinted on me, the things that I don't even realize because I've been watching them my whole life. You know, the generations, I enjoy TikTok, I'll admit it. And there's a lot of stuff that comes up on my feed that, like, you know, says, if you recognize these things, you're old. And it'll show an old box of Lucky Charms or a television set where you still had to turn the knobs. And I feel like when I say that this is part of what is that unconscious imprint that we have based on our childhood experience, Gemini. So as Mercury moves into that house, and mind you, each one of you have your own chart. So you overlay the Gemini energy with whatever house it is. So let's say Gemini is your 8th house. Then this is going to be a house of transformation of the mind. And Jupiter's entry into that house is going to expand the desire for that and the willingness to move forward. So that's just what I want to say. I think that trine is really powerful because Pluto, people hang on to the scary part of Pluto, but everyone that I have witnessed on the, like over the last few years that has experienced a pretty extensive Pluto transit has ended up having something better happen. Gwen Stefani had Pluto squaring her sun. When she found out her husband was not faithful, she got a divorce. And in that, then she met Blake Shelton and her life changed. Okay. Then we see Taylor Swift having Venus, Pluto coming up on her 1-degree Venus in Aquarius, and her relationship of 6 years ends. And by the way, Joe has his Saturn on her Venus. So he was experiencing Saturn, his natal Saturn have a Pluto transit, and that relationship ended. And now we see Taylor's thriving. I mean, she's thriving materially, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And all of these things came from a big excavation on a deep level. So there we go. All right, let's jump into our readings. We're going to start with our birthday babies, our Gemini, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first tarot card is the 4 of Cups. I just had some weird sounds going on in my house. The 4 of Cups is, I've got a weird glare. I apologize. It's very cloudy and weird here. Let me see if I can adjust this a wee bit. Okay. Happy birthday, June 7th. All right, so we look at this 4 of Cups, and this gentleman is extremely focused on what he is. He's not happy. Okay, he's a bit dissatisfied. He's looking at the 3 cups on the ground, and he's like, this is not what I'm looking for, or this is not enough. There's a sense of dissatisfaction, and yet there is a gift coming from this cup. There's something emotionally being offered. There's something spiritually being offered. I don't know why I feel like lighting. There's something spiritually being offered. And I think when I look at the character's garment, the underbelly or the undershirt is red, and the tunic over it is sort of this white green color. And it makes me feel like he's in some kind of scarcity or some kind of material concern, and he can't quite see, what is being offered on the outside. So let's see what we're doing here because as Jupiter moves into Gemini, you may find that, suddenly you're anxious to implement new things in your life, or you feel a sense of calling. There's such a quick energy with these 2 planets coming together. And then you put the sun and Venus in there, and it just feels almost like I can't get there quick enough, And sometimes pacing is actually something that works for us, building us a sense of confidence in what we're doing. Let's see where we're going with this. Gemini, Your first angel is Fiona. Now that you ask God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. Crystal is saying, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. Caressa is foretelling the end of a cycle so that new happiness can begin. And then we see Archangel Raphael offering a healing. And yet I often think of that healing as some sort of awareness that whatever I've been going through, there's a wisdom attached to it. Ella, you know, we were just talking about, I don't know if you were in the room, but you might just want to start off with something easy. Like when you take your shower, just taking a minute in that time to connect with the water element and to talk to your guides, talk to your God, to whoever, source energy, the universe, and just tell them what you want to experience and start to make that a daily practice. And as you do that, you'll start to see, as this spread is starting to reflect, that spirit will bring things into your experience to confirm that they hear you and they're opening the space. So often the human is focused on the human element of what's going on. I don't see any money in the bank account. I don't see any job opportunities. I don't see any boyfriend or girlfriend. And because of that, we end up inadvertently focusing. This is Mercury and Jupiter's conjunction this week, is offering a broader thought to our everyday mind. It may be that, certain experiences that we have that feel delayed will actually represent something for those that experience us achieving that thing that we want. So Fiona is being joined by the king. That's very interesting. Crystal's being joined by the dragon. Caressa is being joined by the queen. And Archangel Raphael is being joined by the trust card. This is very interesting to me because as I look at this, there's quite a few things that we can look at. The king talks about men, of course, but it also talks about justice and things pertaining to the law. Jupiter represents things pertaining to the law. And we know that Pluto's retrograde back into Capricorn is going to do a little bit more of deconstruction on old structures that support fear as a motivator or some sort of out of balance duty. You have to do this because if you don't do this, you're a bad person. Okay? This is all going to start to be really rewritten. The awareness of the manipulation of the media or of the human structure is going to be more prevalent and more in our consciousness. And as a result, I think that this is God offering you an opportunity to feel a sense of justice coming towards you. It could be justice within something to do with your Gemini energy. And again, I want to refer to your house because that will give you another layer of detail. So as we look at Gemini rising, that's what we're talking about this, then it would be something about the self, something that would be justice or pertaining to divine law about you asserting yourself in a more intentional way towards what it is you want. And when I say intentional, I don't mean it's about taking action. I mean, it's about this awareness that I have through Jupiter's entry in your first house. And if you look at it in Placidus, because when I do personal charts, I don't use whole sign. I only use them for the videos. Because so many people have a late degree Gemini rising, which puts most of that Gemini energy in their 12th house of the unseen or of the, unconscious or of the self-undoing. So that's really powerful to note because that could be bringing an awareness into your consciousness that then rewrites a soul imprint that you weren't aware of or you didn't have a deep consciousness of. Because here in the opportunity, the obstacle is something is happening behind the scenes. And part of your opportunity is to stay calm, cool, and collected as you assert yourself from a heart chakra. I often say to spirit when I have something that I want to endeavor, If this is aligned to a deeper truth of my soul, then give me a sign before, and I usually look for 3 of them, before I take my actions. So here, I think for my Geminis, when I look in the angel's advice and I see this potential ending and the Queen, I feel like it's the ending of your mind taking over. It's almost like you're aware of the contemplation of both sides of a story. And then instead of getting caught in the paralyzation of that, you start to realize that you're receiving signs and omens, and that it is just and fair, and it is the divine laws that bring those in. When I'm looking at this king and queen, I'm not feeling like they're a couple. I'm feeling like there's something bigger going on here. And the bigger is the dynamic that sits underneath it. So if for some reason you want to be in a relationship, then part of that focus is that, thank you, Spirit, for bringing me a relationship that is aligned. And then you go into the characteristics instead of pointing at a person and choosing them. And I feel like that's kind of a template for anything you want to manifest. So rather than focusing on one particular way of receiving it, you focus on the elements of it that make you feel, fulfilled, purposeful, loved, valued, and that will bring in the situation, and then you will naturally align to it. Sometimes when I do readings for young girls and they're in love, and I talk about the characteristics, it's almost like they get disappointed because they think I want them to go for a nice guy who's ugly. And I always say to them, that's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you that when you go to a deeper level of what you want, Spirit will align the people, the places, the situations, and dynamics to support what you want. So finding a nice person, or finding a nice boss, or finding a thriving situation in your home life, that will be brought to you. Your job is to be ready to receive it. Because here, it all comes from an epiphany of trusting your soul in a way that knows, like sometimes when people get worried about stuff and they come and like maybe a health issue or something, I first thing I want to say is, on a soul level, do you believe you contracted to have this experience? Do you believe that you are going to have to experience chemo or have to experience bankruptcy? There are so many things that if we ask ourselves on a deep level, would I actually do that? We can hear the answer. And oftentimes this is evidenced in our partnerships, because we will partner with somebody that we actually know isn't right for us, but because everything is kind of fun and okay, we will ignore that inner knowing. This Jupiter and Mercury conjunction and Jupiter's transit through your first house is really bringing all of this to the surface of your awareness so that you can make new choices, and new choices of speech, as well as what you listen to and who you interact with. So this is pretty good. Spirit's bringing you a gift of some kind. Happy birthday, solar return. Okay, on to you didn't miss Taurus. Who was that? Jules. I just started, and we're starting with birthday month. So here we go. We're on to our Cancers. Now, as I'm shuffling, I just want to say this for my Cancers, because I like to prepare energetically for things. I don't necessarily, do the work, meaning pound the pavement, stick all those emails in my database, blah, blah, blah. But as I know that Jupiter will enter my 4th house in 2025. And, guys, I've been teasing with you about the lottery, and that, I've been playing scratchers and watching my lottery dream home. And I know it's kind of silly to say it, but at the same time, I'm like, why not me? The divine laws of the universe don't pick the person. It just responds to the person with the loudest vibration in any area. So when I'm playing my little scratchers, I kind of laugh because I'm thinking I'm adjusting my vibration. And when Jupiter moves in the house of Cancer, where it's exalted, I'm thinking I'm going to get to buy my house. I don't know how it's going to happen. I may not win the lottery. It may come in another way, but it's all open. And it's meaning for me with Spirit, I'm open to all those things. So I bring this up because we're going on to Cancer. And when Jupiter moves into your 1st house in its exaltation, this is great. This could expand lots of things. Could expand your family, could expand the literal home you live in, could expand something to do with how you heal, how you nurture, how you feel healed and nurtured. So many great things. All right, let's see Cancer. Oh, there's a big transformation coming. Gemini is your 12th house. So here we see, when I see this card, let me get up close. The one thing I really note is that this is about faith, and the king who's implementing the rules and the governing bodies is the one laying on the ground. Oh, that's very fun. I got to tell you, I'm all about, like, this to me, Jules. I'm sorry to interrupt for my Cancers, but I believe that when I'm playing the lottery, I'm not playing to win. I'm playing to see my vibrational alignment to receiving money. Because most humans, when you start putting numbers on things, their brains start to put a ceiling and they pull down. So that's why I use the word resources, because it has no buttons on that one. But anyway, so good for you. Enjoy watching your vibration to receive money grow. All right, so the death card is transformation. It's very much about, we think of Pluto when we think of the death card, but it's a rebirth. And when I look at this, I feel as if there is an opportunity for my Cancers, because we know that as Pluto starts to retrograde in Aquarius, and it's already at 1 degree, and as it gets there, those late degree Cancers are feeling that conjunction again. This is a revisit to clear out the cobwebs of wherever you may feel a lack of care or a lack of, having the Cancer first house will make you very much focused on being a nurturer, being a healer, being somebody who comforts and loves other people. And sometimes in that exchange, it doesn't feel like the love and the comfort is coming back. So there may be this little bit of a transformation when you start to really anchor in the idea that when I carve out time for me, then other people start to realize this is part of how I roll. I used to know this woman. She was a Taurus. And this is when we were in our late 30s, early 40s, and we were still going out late at night and dancing and drinking and partying. And you were never allowed to call her on Sunday morning before 10 a.m. And half of us would wake up at 8 a.m. with dry mouth and a hangover and want to go to breakfast and, eat a big egg dish to soak it up. But we had to wait for her at 10 o'clock, which means we couldn't go to about 11. And that was just her boundary. And we all acquiesced to her boundary. I kind of feel like I want to love on Cancer a little bit and say this death card could be a little bit about healthy boundaries, about holding fast for what you need to self-nurture and then help teach other people how to nurture you. All right, here we go. Let's see. Hey, Betty, welcome to the room. Everybody, just call me C. Taylor, good morning. Good morning, small wildflowers. I didn't even say hi to you. Sorry. All right, here we go. Our first angel is Athena. It's safe for you to lovingly assert yourself. You know how to be powerful. Vanessa is about faith or fear and where I will make my decisions from. Layla is about spending time with God and the angels in nature, telling them your desires and intentions. And Crystal is about having faith and hope that there's more on the horizon. Athena is being joined by the Earth Fairy. Vanessa's being joined by the Mystery card. Layla's being joined by the Hawk. And Crystal's being joined by the Love card. This is really I want to offer this because, the signs that tend to focus on other people more than themselves, we can look at Pisces with their compassion and empathy, Cancer with their creativity and nurturing and love. And then there's also Virgo, right? Virgo who's of service to others. And we always think that, when we're taking care of other people, that we're doing good deeds. But sometimes that is not always in balance, because sometimes we get depleted, and it's important to take care of oneself. This earth fairy feels like it's not about bad health, but about not letting yourself get too stressed out. Having all that activity in your 12th house of Gemini this week and this month could very well bring you into a place of feeling these unconscious pulls of having to make sure everything is getting done, everybody's got their homework done, everybody's, whatever your obligations are, could feel very busy and very gosh, I almost feel like I can't keep up with my own agenda. That's how it feels. So here, this is about asserting yourself and allowing yourself permission to take care of yourself. Every once in a while, I got to tell you, people text me at all hours of the night, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. If they're on the East Coast, it's 6 in the morning for me, and they're texting me with their updates of what's going on since our last session. And I love these people. Don't get me wrong, but it's up to me to turn the phone on Do Not Disturb and get the rest, because they can't always be worrying about what I need. So this is what I'm saying for my Cancers, because I feel trepidation. Oh, no, I can't do that. These people need me. If I don't do this, it won't get done. Vanessa says, have faith in your choices. Allow for this transformation to something. Allow for this to be something that brings in a sense of you feeling supported, because Layla is talking about your intentions, and God is trying to give you signs and omens. And part of those signs and omens come through your thought process. This is an 11. So being able to see, one of the things that I noticed, I think it was actually yesterday, because I shot a bunch of videos. I was a little late getting my June videos out, but the first day of June had a series of ones. The sun was at 11 degrees, Venus was at 10 degrees, Jupiter was at 1 degree, and then Pluto was at retrograde 1 degree. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just see the pattern of my thoughts and being aware that my thoughts run amok. I can't necessarily stop them from ping-ponging, but when I notice the ping pong, I can then go, okay, Spirit, I need an experience that neutralizes this ping pong. I need help anchoring in what it is I need. Now, Cancer, your job right now is to look for the signs and the omens of what you're being offered, and to use your intuitive body, not to default to the obligation and feeling insecure if you don't deliver. Because here, Crystal is saying have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon. And then there's the love card. And this makes me feel as if there's more feelings of feeling valued, or feeling part of a family, or feeling a sense of strength within your home environment. There's a new movie. I don't know if you remember the movie Inside Out. There's a part 2 coming, and the little girl, it's all about emotions, right? And in the first movie, she was moving away from home, and we got to see anger, and we got to see sadness and all sorts of things. Now they're adding teenage emotions into it. And I've only seen the trailer. I don't think the movie's out yet, but it reminds me a little bit of Cancer, because there's all these emotions going on, vying for attention underneath the surface. And yet the attention you give to your emotions, and then kind of allowing for their priority, you might see things happening in your outside world that are just magical. Are you planning on getting anxiety? Sometimes it happens, I usually think anxiety shows up when we're kind of going the wrong direction. It's like our little internal warning system when we start to feel anxiety. Oh, in the movie. Yes, I know. Me too. I think it's going to be a really cute movie. Honestly, I'm excited. Okay, here we go. We are on to our Leos. Oh, Leo, this is fun. The 10 of Cups. This is a very, very happy card. It's full of love and celebration, home and dancing. Everybody's having a good time. They're feeling a sense of celebration. Everything they need is provided. Let's see where we're going, because we know that as Pluto retrogrades, we're definitely, these early born Leos are feeling that opposition. And this is the second time that you will feel it. So let's see where we're going here. Our first angel is Shanti, the angel of peace. Then we have Ariel talking about new spiritual experiences, changing the way you think. Merlina is here. And then we have Fiona. You know, I want to offer this because as those of us that are standing in awareness, on a path to awareness, not evolution, you know, you don't need to climb a mountain. You just stand in your human body and be aware of your surroundings, and you will literally be standing in divine energy. The reason I say this is because I think what Shanti and what the 10 of Cups is doing is telling you to move towards the peaceful, enjoyable things. Leo rules the zodiac. The sun rules the zodiac. The sun is exalted in Aries. Aries is about the individual. I'm getting a feeling here that we can't expect peace to come our direction. We've got to claim our peace. So here we go. Shanti and the love card. Ariel and the joy card. Merlina is being joined by Merlin. That's powerful. Fiona is being joined by the new beginning, the novice. Okay, so I want to really, so let's think about this for a second. If you're a Leo rising, then Gemini is your 11th house of hopes and dreams. It's the house that rules the World Wide Web and the internet and birthing, yourself into social groups. And Gemini is very social by nature. Now we see this blow up of energy going on there. I want to offer this. I think this is a really powerful time for my Leos to step into a vibration of, first, the vibration, the B. We cannot forget about Pisces energy and Saturn's retrograde. This is about putting structure into your divinity, structure into your spiritual practices as a way to represent the things that you want to feel moving forward. Because this Shanti and the angel of peace make me feel like I want to have peace. I want to feel love. I want to feel a sense of contentment. I'm tired of all of the nonsense, been going back and forth. And now we have Ariel offering you joy. But when we look at that joy, it's a 37, which reduces down to a 10. Here's the 10 right here. This is all about the thought process. And I want to offer this to you because the human experience by nature is not meant to be easy. It is a master class for the soul. And it's not a class in learning something. It's a class in remembering something. Your co-creation, your divinity, how amazing you are, how brilliant you are, how you actually deserve to live the life you want to live. Not the life that your mom wants you to live or the life your neighbors want you to live or anybody else. Because to me, Merlin and Merlina are offering double dose of wizardry magic in the form of alchemy, justice, and balance. But part of that is claiming my joy. And that claiming my joy is giving myself permission to experience things that might scare me. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. They could scare me because I could put myself out in front of an audience that could not accept me. They could put me in a situation where the people that I love judge me or feel that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But at the same time, as you stand in that awareness that of what you love and what you want for yourself, Spirit can help you represent amazing things. Because Fiona is saying, now that you ask God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. And here's your new beginning. But not just a new beginning where you're using your skills. Venus is going through Gemini. Venus rules our skills, our voice, our talents, our sense of comfort and luxury. Your ruling planet is in Gemini, traveling with her. And Mercury's about to catch up with them all. And we're going to see in the middle of the month, these planets, Mercury, the Sun, and Venus all traveling together towards the end of Gemini. And as they do that, they make the square to Saturn in Pisces. And this is really about a deep dive into how am I fostering and supporting the things that I want to experience, and how am I representing the authenticity of who I am out into the world. And as you do that, I think we've got the 37 here offering us joy. We've got Merlin as a 1. We've got the 10 representing a 1. And this love and this peace card makes me feel as if you're starting to feel, or you could potentially feel, that expansion of your hopes and dreams, expansion of your presence or influence upon others that makes you feel valuable. But a little bit of a sticking your neck out towards what brings you happy. What brings you happy? Left a few words out of that sentence, didn't I? Should have said what makes you happy. But anyway, my mouth and my mind, they're not really in sync lately. My mind is working much faster and in more directions. Let's go on to our Virgos. Rising, moon, sun, and stellium. Did we get Leo? Didn't I do Leo? Did we get the Leo? I see Cancer, but I don't see where it says Leo. Did we miss that? Oh, there it is. Sorry, I see it now. There was no chat between. It was just small wildflowers talking to herself. Okay. Oh, sometimes I wish I could just be watching and making comments because they're so funny. All right, here we go. On to our Virgos, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, this is a nice energy. This is literally moving into smoother waters. There's going from a sense of challenge and a sense of, oftentimes this card represents somebody who's coming off of a bit of a sorrow, a little bit of a challenging situation. And the move, literally, it's like moving into a new area that moves things away from the disruption. So let's see. It is a little quiet today in the room. Stephen's not here. Sorry. I didn't mean that as an insult. Stephen keeps the chat rolling a lot. All right, here we go. Virgo, let's see where we're going. Our first angel is Athena. The second is Serena. The third is Indriel. And the final is Bridget. Now, we know that exactly. You all right there, bubbies? Lucky's having a moment. Okay, Virgo. What I started to say is that as Saturn is stationing retrograde at 18 degrees, we go up to 19 degrees. I think it's 12 minutes. Let me see my notes say. It's on the other page. In any case, there's going to be that opposition. And everybody who has any planets between 19 and 12 degrees, I happen to have Venus at 10 in Virgo, we're going to see that this opposition presenting an opportunity of some kind. Now, yes, Saturn can be restrictive, but at the same time, you are an earth sign. So Saturn is friendly to you because it trines Capricorn. I say this because this energy could potentially be an emotional energy as you give yourself different permissions. This is about asserting yourself. Let's see where we're going. Asserting yourself. And Athena's being joined by the dragon. Serena's being joined by the perception card. Indriel's being joined by the forgiveness card. And Bridget's being joined by the earth fairy. I guess where this feels like to me is actually, when I think of Virgo, most Virgos I know are very good with money, frankly, at least the ones I know. And they're good savers. They're good at taking care of their earthly needs. And when I look at Athena and the dragon, I think this is about anchoring into you have all the resources that you need. That we're in an environment right now where everything feels as if, you can't go into the market without seeing everything getting more expensive. You can't go, watch television without being told your kidneys are going to fall out of your body or your eyeballs are going to bleed because your sinuses, something crazy is always going on. So I kind of feel like what's going on here for Virgo is to start to pull back and assess what those things really mean to you. Like, when we think about Mercury moving into your sister sign, right, Gemini, there's an opportunity to review your daily mind. I don't know how you feed your mind, what you let your mind focus in on. The reason I say this is because Athena is saying to assert yourself towards something more calm, something more like move away from the stress or move away from the I gotta. Whatever, you gotta clean, you gotta wash the car, you gotta get the kids here, you gotta go to the market, whatever the I gottas are. Because right now, this challenge and the opportunity is your perception of abundance. Serena talks about money, and being calm, that all your resources that you need will come in. And then there's the perception card. And I'll tell you, while people can make a very great case for their lack of funds, the focus on a lack of funds just kicks in the universe in a way that doesn't work for you. Because as you move into smoother waters, and I think these are emotional waters, now I'm wondering if it's even a physical move as much as it could potentially be an emotional move. When we're looking at the 6, the 7, and the 8, we're looking at the fixed signs of water, which would be Scorpio. Scorpio, is that deep psychological imprint. So as you become aware of that, I think Andriel's representing an epiphany of some kind. And then we have the forgiveness card. And that to me is where something works out better than I thought it was going to work out. Because here, Bridget is looking deeper into your, I think, what you've built physically. And I also think this is something about watching your stress level right now. And if your stress is because you're looking for something in the future, like I have money now, but oh my God, if something bad happens, then I'm going to be in big trouble in like 2 months, blah, blah, blah. And I always think that, those hypothetical fear-based things, they come from car insurance and medical insurance and how we're raised. So as we stop for a minute and assert ourselves and think, you know what? My body's pretty good. Money keeps coming in. Just because everybody else's life is falling apart, does that mean mine has to? Again, our focused thought is going to kick in the laws of the universe. When I watch that, there's 2 shows, okay? There's My Lottery Dream Home, which I watch more, but there's something, The Lottery Changed My Life. And it's on some random channel. I don't know how I found it, but I watched a couple episodes, and I got to tell you, I laugh so hard because it feels like it's really easy to win the lottery. I really, and the people who play, who are on these shows, they're not necessarily rich people, but people who like just on a whim, I was at my thing, I was over and I decided to walk in the gas station and buy this ticket. It just pulled me. And I think, oh my God, these things just hit me. So my point for Virgo is whatever resources that you need, resources in the way of money or food or good health, you putting in those divine law structures, knowing that you're focused thought and giving yourself just a minute to step back from, being of service or being of, making sure everybody else is taken care of. That's this little funky bubble in Cancer and in Virgo and sometimes even in Pisces, because looking deeper is everything's better than you think. And as you move mentally into smoother waters, things will start to roll even more effortlessly. Welcome, Caitlin. So good to see you in the room. Hello, Aloha Flower. I'm glad you were able to make it. Yes, you did miss Leo. We just finished Leo. We started Gemini and we're going around the Zodiac. We start with the birthday month. So we are on to Libra right now, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And I don't know why I want to say this, but I'm just going to say it. For me lately, I'm an Aries rising and I have a Taurus moon, which can make me very difficult sometimes. But I also think that lately I have been revisiting the energy of things are happening when I don't know they're happening. And I keep engaging spirit and, what's the status of this? What's the status of that? And they keep kind of giving me this intuitive knowing that the longer some things take, the more they're being anchored in my favor in a way. It's almost like where I can be anxious to have the reveal or have the conclusion. There is something about not having it that is anchoring in the conclusion that I want. So I kind of want to put that out to you guys too, that if things don't seem to be moving in your eye line or in the way that you process information or how you're processing your world, there could be things going on that you don't know about. I don't even pray. Okay, another joke. Okay, so we joke about these scratchers in the lottery. I never pray to win the lottery. I always say to Spirit, thanks for bringing me that winning ticket. Total different thing. So the subtleties of your language and the awareness of that can really shift your experience. All right, here we go. Libra. Ugh. This is the Five of Pentacles. This is not such a fun energy. I'm going to say it. These characters are so downtrodden. This is an ill health card. It's also a card of rejection. It's a card where the people feel so stuck in their stuff that they can't see their way out, and they're literally walking by the solution. And you know, the tarot is so interesting because it has these subtleties in it that that we oftentimes we miss. So we see the woman, looks like she's barefoot, but the character on the crutches has a blue wrap and a yellow wrap. And I just think when I look at the foot and I think of the feet move us forward, the blue foot is up, sort of feeling like it's the one that's hurt. The blue represents this throat chakra, and the yellow that he's standing on represents the power chakra. So there's a part of me that makes me feel like if we look at the nuances here, what is the interior voice telling us? What is the interior? You know, we have this imprint. Those of you that are younger, you know, when I was younger, they couldn't even find DNA. They didn't have DNA. Okay, people got murdered all the time and got away with it because they couldn't find DNA. Technology has brought things into our awareness that are good, but they've also brought fears attached with that awareness. You know, people go get tested because their parents have blah, 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 and they just think because their parents had it, they're going to get it. But that's not necessarily true. That we each are individuals within that DNA line. So there's something that's going on about delineating your power, about your voice, Libra, about the permissions that you're giving yourself. And when I say permissions that you're giving yourself, I mean to feel the power of things will be all right. If there's a dip, there's a reason for that dip. There's a wisdom to be extracted from it. All right, here we go. Hi, Carly. All right, Libra, our first angel is Sonia. That means your team is very close with you. And I want to say this too. Okay, I just realized this. I have a 27-degree Mars in Libra. Pluto's going to square it as it retrogrades back into Capricorn. So this will be, I don't know how many times now I've been feeling Pluto's influence on some major stuff in my chart. And at the same time, I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of Pluto at all. I feel like Pluto is my bestest friend. And this is Spirit reminding Libra, they got you. Next one, Crystal says, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. Oceana is about trusting an inner, deeper knowing that your needs will be met and provided for. And there's Astera saying to reach for the stars. All right, Libra, don't let Pluto's growing square get you down. Don't let the South Node get you down. Now, that could be a real, mind melt, because the South Node going through your first house of self is like this, representing all the bad habits of what we do for the self. Now, some of you are Libra Sun. I'm a Libra Sun, not a Libra rising. So that's that Libra energy is going through my house of partnerships. It's going through my 7th house because I'm an Aries rising. So it's had me revisiting and looking at the type of collaborations I want, how I create peace and harmony for myself, how I implement divine justice. Okay. How do I perceive it? And this has been a great tool for me because I feel very powerful, but it went through major disruption before I started to recognize how I may be right about something, but how I act when I'm right. See, my Aries got a little over the top. Not all Libras have that challenge. Sonia, is being joined by the cow, asking and receiving. This is about talking to your guides, talking to your angels, connecting. The key about this is these characters do not see the church and the solution is right above them. In fact, this character right here seems like he sees it, but he just follows this lady over here who is so busy being depressed and in her problems that she doesn't see the solution is being offered. It also infers in this card that the storm is still going on because you can't see it because the lighting is bad, but there's all these snowflakes that are coming down, and yet you don't see them over the stars. You only see them over the sides. So again, the connection to your divinity, the connection to your soul is going to be partially of how this moves forward. Crystal says have faith and hope because justice is on the way. Something is coming into alchemy and balance. Oceana is saying to look for is being joined by the hawk. There are signs and omens. And I want to offer this too, because part of those signs and omens, the human is so cute and so wonderfully ridiculous sometimes because signs and omens, we get them and then we doubt them, right? Oh, was it big enough? Was it strong enough? Was it this enough? The subtlety of your emotional body, the more you hone into that subtlety, the stronger your intuition will really be. That's what I'm going to go through this. Let me just finish. And then Esther is saying to trust. Okay. You are actually literally, God and the angels are answering your requests right now. And I want to offer this if I can get closer. How do I get this to look better? The Sonia right here is your team of loved ones, your team of people that watch over you. We all have a team. We are not alone in this universe. And your best team member is your oversoul. When I say your oversoul, the part of you, look, if your soul is, let's say, as big as this, then about this much is in your human body. The rest is outside. You are such a multifaceted being. You have no idea. And this human apparatus cannot comprehend it. So when you're talking to your oversoul, you're literally talking to a bigger part of yourself that knows the wisdom of your challenges. It knows how strong you can become in your connection to spirit while representing the possibilities here in the physical plane. Because this literally tells me that everything you need is going to be provided for you. And your job is not to get too caught up in what's going on right now, but stay connected. Crystal's all about having faith and hope. There's more on the horizon. Faith is not a wobble. Faith is a knowing, a deep knowing. I don't need to see the evidence. I can feel it inside of me. And that's Merlin. And that's the alchemy. That's where everything starts to come together. When I'm pretty sure there are some people when I tell them I'm going to win the lottery, they just laugh like I'm ridiculous. But I have a client who literally won $200,000 in the second chance lottery. And I think to myself, why would Spirit bring me these kind of examples? Why would I find lottery tickets on the ground and then be winning tickets if there isn't something brewing? And all I'm worried about right now is my alignment to that endeavor. Because whatever you are endeavoring, Libra, your alignment to it, and then letting that south node be the part where I don't need to see it. I don't need to have it in the physical experience. That sort of letting it be. The South Node for me is a place where I have to be egoless because the ego edges God out. So what I'm essentially saying is I'm not going to edge God out, but that's going to make me nervous because I can't see how it's going to play out. And that's where we start to feel the signs and the omens coming. So now Astera says to reach for the stars. The stars could be potentially construed as your team. Do not compromise. And then we have the trust card. The 41 reduces down to an 11, which is basically telling me this is a 1, this is a 1. So everything that you're wanting right now, Libra, the universe is putting those pieces together. And this opposition you're experiencing in the nodal structure with the North Node, Chiron, and Mars all going through your 7th house is really about illuminating a sense of self, kind of putting yourself in the driver's seat, because clearly this guy is not driving the bus. He's following the lady who's too depressed. Don't follow the Debbie Downer. No offense to all those named Debbie. Okay. Onward and upward. Oh, good. Are you playing at all? I started thinking about, like the tickets, because when you buy dollar tickets or $3 tickets or $5 tickets, they're really hard to win on, to be honest. You get way many more chances and more opportunities to win when you buy the like $10 and $20 ones. Oh, is that the ones where she gets paid every week or something? Oh, that's so funny. When you say she did a deep dive in the trash cans, were those to grab dead lottery tickets so that she could put them in her second chance? You win on $3 and $5 tickets? You won 3 $5 tickets. Okay, good. All right. Because I had someone give me a bunch of tickets that somebody threw out in the trash, and I took them. I mean, I didn't take the ones that were slimy from the garbage, but I took the other ones and I put them in. And then you got to save your tickets. Don't throw them away, because if you do win, you got to produce the ticket. All right. Okay. Little lottery. Okay, here we go. Again, if you play with it, it's not about winning, it's about your vibration. So how I look at it is, oh yeah, okay, so I win, a ticket here, $20 here. But when I won my first $100, like it was an actual $100 thing, I'm like, woo, we're getting better. We're getting better. Okay, on to my Scorpios. We have the Hermit. The Hermit is a really, it's first thing I think of is the Virgo energy, because the Hermit represents the Virgo energy. It also represents Saturn's energy. It represents enlightenment. It represents a period of isolation, a little bit of a cold period where I'm sort of introspective. Oh, I love that, Katarina. $1,700 a month is like, that brings a lot of ease. Okay, Scorpio, let's look, because I think what's going on here, as I look at that, is there's the potential that your ruling planet, Pluto, as it's retrograding, is asking even more. And this is what I want to say too. There's a square growing between Pluto and Mars. Mars is at the end of the last degrees this week of Aries, which makes it very powerful, okay, because it's in its rulership. And as it squares its friend in its cohort in crime, Pluto, because when these two planets, have a challenging aspect, they're kind of, they're like street fighters, okay? They just get kind of a little bit nasty. But this is where Pluto's in Aquarius, going into Capricorn, and here is Mars about to enter its detriment. So to me, this square could be a little bit about a long-standing frustration that you've had. And if there's been a long-standing frustration, then there could potentially be an enlightenment that you've been walking on the frustration and staring at it too long. But let's look and see. I think that, those ones where they pay you for life, we don't get those here. I haven't seen any of those tickets in California, but I saw on My Lottery Dream Home, some guy won one of those where he gets paid like every week $1,000 or something. And he bought his mom a home. He bought himself a penthouse in New York City. I'm like, wow. I just think it's kind of fun. I never used to play before because I used to always think it was just about winning money. And now that I've changed my attitude about whether it's about winning money, I don't even get bummed out when I buy tickets and I don't win anything. Yeah, I want to win for life. And then I got to live a long life like the Hermit. All right, Scorpio, let's see where we're going. What does Spirit want you to reflect upon? Your faith or your fear? When we go back into our experiences and we review our experiences in life, it can be a real faith killer. Like, now that you asked God and the angels for help, Fiona is here to help you get what you want. There's the patience card. It's about observation of your own energy. And then Seraphina about happy families and change to family. Let's see if it's an actual family or the committee of our brain. Nevada doesn't allow scratch-offs. Does it have a lottery at all? That seems weird. I don't like playing the Powerball. I never play it. It's just out of my wheelhouse. When I see all those billions of dollars, I'm like, or millions, I'm like, that's too much. I don't even want that much. 20 million will be good for me, or $1,000 a week for life. 2,000, I don't care. All right, Scorpio. Vanessa's being joined by the Earth Fairy. Fiona's being joined by the Fear card. Patience is being joined by the Disruption card. And Seraphina's being joined by the Communications card. It's funny, when I saw Seraphina, I was thinking about that movie Inside Out and all the emotions coming up. Okay. I want to offer this because, right now, there's no planets going on in Scorpio that I can think of at this particular moment, but I want to offer this because Scorpio does experience the Pluto square in Aquarius. And if you're an early born Scorpio, you're starting to feel that. That would be those early October or late October babies, right? The 23rd, 24th. Here, Vanessa is talking about grounding your sense of faith. And I really feel like that's where the enlightenment comes. If you're being worn down somehow by an experience, or you're feeling that more brooding, challenging energy of Scorpio, I feel like, again, just having a little bit of a wherewithal or an awareness of how you are, what is your focus thought? Because Fiona and the Fear card come together, and this makes me feel as if something's triggering you in some way. And Spirit's trying to rewrite how you feel about fear. When I first started working for myself, the resources, money, I mean, I'm a Taurus moon, it's Taurus 101 is to be worried about money. And I kept saying to Spirit, if I'm really meant to do this work, if I'm at all valuable to anybody at all, please help me feel financially flowing. I never asked for money. I always asked for the resources and the flow of it. I had enough awareness not to limit myself, because I know that when I talk about certain numbers, they feel impossible to me. I've never grown up with a lot of money. When I was a child, we were on welfare. We were that family. My mom, never mind. But anyway, so money's not my thing. So here, somehow Spirit is transforming your fears. And I think that this is all about an observation of potentially where fear has disrupted you. When we think about fear, it's kind of can sometimes look like this. I need to get my bills paid, or I'm going to get evicted. So I'm going to go get a job at Macy's, and I'm going to work at Macy's, but I don't really like retail, but boy, that'll solve the problem for now. And then the now just kind of rolls on and rolls on and rolls on. So I think the Hermit is offering Scorpio an opportunity to reflect and to be enlightened by their history. That's where I feel that Saturn energy, where it's felt cold, where things have not felt like they were firing up and feeling powerful. Because here, Seraphina is offering a change to the committee inside of your mind, but part of it is your awareness of what you're talking about and your communications. I am extremely weird about words. When I talk to people and I talk to clients and they're like, I need to do this and I should do that, I'm like, ooh. Need is very dense energy. It's very, very obligatory, and it slows the vibration down. When you get to do something, it has a completely different vibration. So here, I think for my Scorpios, this week, as you experience your Gemini energy and as Mercury joins Jupiter in that conjunction and makes a trine to your ruling planet Pluto, you could have some thoughts and some ideas about, how you want to transform. I mean, Gemini is your 8th house. How do you want to allow, because if we think about it, Gemini is your 8th house. You naturally rule the 8th house. The 8th house rules other people's money. Gemini rules, interacting with other people. There is the potential that up until now you haven't believed in yourself, but maybe by just tipping your toe in a little bit, first through your communications with God and the angels. Thank you for giving me the confidence. Thank you for bringing to me the opportunities, and I'll be brave enough to walk through the opportunities. And as I walk through the opportunities, thank you for anchoring in my strength. Okay, let's move on from there. Can you get to New York and buy your tickets in New York? I don't know. I always think that Jersey and New York are a hop, skip, and a jump from each other. Kind of like LA and Orange County here in California. All right, here we go. On to our Sagittarius' rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Ooh, this is a fun card. The World. The World is a reward card. We see all the elements are represented here. I'm so sorry about this lighting today. It's pretty bad. There is a Saturnian feel, though, to this. It's interesting because we see this victory ring. So somewhere when I look at this, I feel as if Sagittarius is, here you are, your ruling planet is going into the opposite sign of its home, considered detriment. And yet Jupiter's a natural traveler, naturally likes to go to foreign lands. And here Sagittarius is learning about the limitations of the human mind. I really think that, that there's a human structure and there's certain, it's like gravity, what goes up must come down. So here there is reward because it's learning how to use all the elements. We see the mind represented. We see that water element and the earth and the fire all represented in this sign or in this card. We see that there's a certain amount of vulnerability, and yet these batons in her hand make me feel like she's playing the fiddle or she's playing the drums. She knows how this works, and so she's being able to extract the rewards within the limitations of the experience. So let's see where we're going. Because again, if we think about Sagittarius's ruling planet being in the sign of everyday communications, every day, the media, running your errands, driving on your roadways, roller skating down your sidewalks, riding bicycles. There's also going to be a huge, this is just on a, bigger scale. We could see a huge jump in tourism, in travel agents' work, in people who work in airports, anything to do with transportation. We could see, when you put these two planets together, or these two energies between Mercury and Jupiter, trining trining Pluto, then we have all this other activity in that house, which is let me think for a second. It's your seventh house. So there could be collaborations with work. There could be a lot of conversations about coming together in partnership for a bigger cause, or to change somehow to be implemented into the everyday activities. Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to keep that in mind. Make sure someone texts me their address again, because I don't know if I still have it, but I could think about that. Sagittarius, Rochelle is your first angel. As you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, Archangel Michael is about courage and protection. Maya is about schooling and education. And then Shanti is the angel of peace. This feels kind of yummy to me. I don't really think that Jupiter's that much detriment when I look at it, because when I think of being a foreign traveler, I think Jupiter's excited to explore lands, and here it explores the monkey mind and how it gets in the way, and how the monkey mind superimposes limitations, because the monkey mind talks about everybody else's opinion of what we're doing. So that's why Rochelle's saying to follow your heart and to be a leader. The stag is joining Rochelle. Archangel Michael is being joined by the wealth card. Maya's being joined by the fire fairy. And Shanti is being joined by the novice. I feel as if for my Sagittarius, this could very well be, because when I look at the world too, I almost feel like this could be opening yourself up to the world. Whenever we put ourselves on an internet platform, we are opening ourselves up to everybody who has access to the internet. That's a world situation. And here, this feels so warm and fuzzy, because Rochelle is about following your heart, and Spirit's about, the stag is about standing in leadership for that. And I really believe that Aquarius is the Pluto's activity in Aquarius is really bringing forth a big, like over the next 20 years, fear is going to be a whole new story, because people are not going to be able to market through fear anymore. People are going to start to recognize their thoughts are things, and they're going to start discerning the information that's coming to them. And as they make their choices, I don't know if that's applicable to me or not. I don't know if I want to fall in that category. It's going to start to shift the human experience, and we're going to see a polarization first. People who are grabbing onto the thoughts or things are going to experience probably an upsurge of their wants and desires, and we could see some people having a bit of a swirl. So as you have the courage to step into your Jupiterian energy, the wealth card, your expansion, as you learn more about your creative ideas and you allow yourself to follow the inspiration of them, there's going to be more for Sagittarius coming up that involves peace and harmony and potentially new beginnings, using your skills in ways you haven't used them before. Stephen's missing out today. I know this would be exactly, if Stephen was listening, this would be where Stephen should be, or I don't like the shoulds. Stephen gets to start to open up to, maybe it's his making his dolls or the doll clothes, or maybe it's more of the astrology as he sees it. But there's something that can bring more peace of mind and reward when Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, or stellium steps into their greatness. Now, let me just put a side note here for Sagittarius. Sagittarius houses two very important points of the Shapley cluster: the galactic center at 27 degrees of Sagittarius and the great attractor at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. I believe the galactic center, it's a 3 to 5 degree orb. I'd have to check my notes to be sure. And I believe that it's a 5 to 10 degree, could be 12 degree orb with the great attractor. So anything within those orbs is an opportunity to attract in what you need, to download divine solutions, which means this. I'm in the shower, I'm talking to God and the angels. I'm like, I want to broaden my YouTube channel. I want more people to hear me. If you think that I'm good at this, then help bring the people in. And then they give me an idea for a video. Now, I get to go implement that. This is how things happen. It almost will feel like a conversation with yourself, but at the same time, I feel like the combination of the Sagittarian energy having these points that are so powerful, then we add Jupiter into this house of collaboration, of diplomacy and peace and cooperation, where we foster our own sense of harmony for ourselves. This could be very fun, and it all feels like it has to do with your own personal creativity, how you birth your again, Jupiter and Sagittarius rules business. It rules business commerce, the exchange. So broadening that. Okay. You may even find yourself maybe joining internet communities that are with more diverse people in them, more diversity within the group itself, people from all over the world with different ideas about things. Okay. On to our Capricorns, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. And your card is the 6 of Pentacles. I love this card these days, I'll tell you. This card very much, I used to, when I was first learning the tarot when I was younger, I used to get so frustrated because my teacher would be like, I'd be like, what does it mean? She'd go, what do you see? I'm like, I don't know what I see. And then as I've gotten older and I've played with this over and over again, I should say worked with, played with. I find work and play to be simultaneous for me. I've realized so many things because this card more than anything represents the way we speak to ourselves and whether or not the universe answers our prayers. Because the person who is speaking in lack is begging, please, 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 I'm in need, I'm desperate. This guy's not going to give you anything. It's the guy who's invested in his desires, in what he wants, in the vision of his future. And while he appears to be on his knees, he also feels as if he's very willing to get up and move. The other character, for some reason, with the scales of justice hanging over his head, tells me he can't get past his story. He can't get past the impoverished story. So now let's look at Capricorn a little bit, right? Capricorn's experienced a Pluto transit. And this has been going on for years, literally, excavating the deepest parts of your fears, your trepidations, your obligations, your responsibilities, your duties, and asking you, Pluto's been asking you, are those true to you? Are those the things you want, or were those given to you? Are you pleasing yourself or are you pleasing someone else? Because when we're constantly in an obligatory, dutiful energy, we are never about ourselves. And that will wear you down faster than anything, you know, faster than literally, you know, a locomotive. I don't know how else to say it. So let's see what Spirit is going to say for my Capricorns, because we know that in September, we're going to have a little bit of a revisit of Pluto into your first house. And I really think that this is a good thing because it liberates your second house of skills and money and security. All right, here we have Mystique telling you to keep charging ahead, to expect miraculous solutions. Teresa is all about other people and caring for them and worrying about them and making sure everybody else is okay. Isaiah is about new beginnings, new ideas, and Rosetta is here. I also want to offer this because of all the signs, you know, for me, some of the signs are the most obligatory to others as they connect the idea that their hearts are so important, that the joy of their hearts is really their best service to other people. If we think about the sign of Capricorn, it's ruled by Saturn. Saturn ruled agriculture. He gave man the tools so that we could experience the golden age. It's not about you using the tools to excavate. It's about you allowing other people to learn from your experience. So here we go. Mystique is being joined by the risk card, which is about really risking charging ahead with what you want, focusing in on what you want versus what you might lack or what you might be obligated to do that's standing in the way. Teresa is being joined by the novice, which is practicing not worrying about other people's opinions. That's not easy to do in this human experience. We are pre-designed to please other people. Isaiah is being joined by the joy card, which is offering my Capricorns a new beginning by putting their joy and their what they find to be pleasurable in the forefront of their experience. Rosetta is being joined by the cow. Okay, I'll just show it to you real quick, even though we can barely see it. Mystique is a process coming out of the dark and into the light, and that's a risk. The risk is to start to worry more about, it's almost like this. We've been joking about, you know, we're all going to win the lottery and we're all going to have the, you know, this, but think about as a collective, if we all actually won the lottery, doesn't some of what my first thought is, wow, where can I give back? And I know where I want to give back. I know about a dog sanctuary that I want to be created. And so I get excited about those ideas. The reason I bring this up is because as Capricorn contemplates their own bounty, their own pleasure, their own joy, you have more to give to those that you love. And that's what Spirit's trying to tell you, that when you worry from an earthly place, it's not as effective. And you're working on this, and you've been working on that awareness, because here Rosetta is the childlike innocence that things will come to me effortlessly, that all the bounty, the money, the resources that I need will be there. And this is about as you pursue an avenue that brings you joy or pleasure. And I'll tell you, starting my career at 53 years old, who knew? Who knew? I'm so glad that I didn't know, because if I would have known when I was younger that it would take that long, I would have probably jumped ship. But now in hindsight, as I approach my 65th birthday, I can't even believe it. I'm being stalked by Medicare, not Medicare, but all the supplemental people telling me, oh no, I can't, you know, I would have cracked up. But now I could not be more happy. Could I say it was worth it? Yeah, I can. Can I say I'd want to do it again? No, I can't. I want to get to the good stuff. Aries rising. All right, here we go. On to our Aquariuses. Rising, moon, sun, and stellium. Here we go. I love this Wheel of Fortune. It's a 10. And when we look at this, on the top of the card, or the top of the wheel, is the Sphinx. And the Sphinx is holding a sword. So, to me, the Wheel of Fortune is always telling me where are my thoughts, where, you know, because the victory comes from sort of this awareness of my thoughts. Again, we have a card that represents all the elements that are being offered within I want to say astrology and the tarot, because we're looking at the mind, we're looking at the emotions, we're looking at the earth, and then we're looking at fire. So here, this also has a bit of a Jupiterian energy, and it's interesting to me as I look at it, because I'm focusing a lot on the idea of the sword, and then the elements are all looking in books. So there's something about knowledge and applying knowledge. Let's look and see where we're going. AARP has been stalking me for 15 years. I haven't taken them up on their offer. I don't know why. I'm just resistant to all the old age stuff. I don't know why. I'm like, I can make my money. I'm good health. Leave me alone. All right. Wheel of Fortune is being joined by Isabella. Aquarius. Yes, the timing is right for this new venture. A happy outcome follows your positive expectation. Athena's about asserting yourself lovingly. Layla's about spending time in nature, talking to God and the angels about what it is that you want. And Serena is money, money, money. We love money. Isabella's being joined by the forgiveness card. Athena's being joined by Merlin. Layla's being joined by the focus card. And Serena's being joined by the disruption card. Okay, so Capricorn isn't the easiest at being serene, at least when it comes to collecting resources, but I want to offer it this way. Yes, the timing is right for a new adventure, and the new venture is the way that you're thinking about how you're rolling. I feel like what I want to say for my Capricorns is Pluto's transit in your first house was at first going to like break ground. Okay. That couldn't have been easy. Breaking ground. I mean, imagine a jackhammer, right? And so that makes me feel like you've been there. Now you've gone through all the retrogrades, et cetera, over these decades. It's been there like 15 years longer. I can't remember, 2008, whatever that is. And now it's like time to garnish everything that you've learned, because this is about lovingly asserting yourself towards your alchemy, your balance, and what is just for you. And this is where the focus is on your connection to spirit. Everything Pluto's been offering you is that connection to your divinity. And now this Wheel of Fortune is saying you have all the key components for your creation. Now, this disruption card is really about, I think, don't let anything disrupt your serenity about what you're creating. Over the last couple of years, there's a couple of things that have been going on. Capricorn is my 10th house. In Placidus, it goes into the 9th house. But a couple of things. Lucky had that skin issue for so long, 5 years, right? And I was like you guys gave me so many remedies. I tried this, I tried that. Nothing was working. And I had somebody go, you need to take him to the vet. You need to get him shots so that he doesn't feel this. I'm like, no, that's not going to help. That's just going to mask it. And finally, a month ago, I figured out what it was. It was something he was eating. I removed that from him. And not because I figured it out. It's because it was one of these fish sticks and he sucked it down. And he was going, bleh, bleh, and when I pulled it out, it was like pulling out one of those magicians, freaking handkerchiefs. And I'm like, well, you can't have these anymore. You're too old and you're going to kill yourself eating these things. Next thing I know, I find out the skin clears up. There's something going on here where I feel like Capricorn, whatever the story is that you've been working, let it disrupt a little bit. Let something break up. And when you break up, it's going to bring a reveal. And when it brings the reveal, something's going to come back into play. And I think you're going to realize that if you get too much in your human body, you're going to disrupt the serenity and abundance that spirit is trying to bring forth as a result of what you have been metamorphosing into for the last decade plus. So, it's interesting how it wasn't actually scary for me, because after Lucky bit me, I became a boss bitch. I got to tell you, I was like, look, dog, you're not biting me again. I'm sticking my fingers down your throat and I'm pulling that sucker out. I don't care what you say. The idea was that it was so dang long. I couldn't believe it. And that's when I just got like, you can't have them anymore. And then I started switching up other things. And then I started letting him play hide and seek after every meal. And oh God, does he love it. And he's so much better, and he's so much spunkier now. He really is. I mean, you wouldn't know it to look at him. He's sleeping, but it was scary, but it wasn't scary for me because I've yanked a lot of things out of that dog's mouth. I gotta tell you. They're fast. Okay, on to our Pisces. Here we go. Oh, I love this. Look, it's the Page of Cups with your little Pisces fish coming right out of the cup. This to me is always a warm infusion of some sort of bounty and love and feeling a sense of, I love the face on the character has a sense of calm, and he looks joyful. The hat too has this sort of fish feel to me. So let's see where we're going. What's being offered to you? What bounty? Now let me offer this to you, okay? Because here we've talked, Saturn's been going through your first house. And while Saturn goes through your first house, that the initial entry, and now this retrograde, is going to be reviewing the things that you've experienced in that initial entry. And I want to offer it this way because Saturn is not really trying to depress or repress or hurt you or obligate you to something, as much as Saturn is wanting you to really put some strong structure into you and your talents and your abilities. And that's what I think is being offered to you, bounty through doing things that you love. Let's look and see. Because as you implement the structure, and I believe that's a daily practice. Thank you, God and the angels, for bringing me all the people who will best be served by my gifts and my talents. Thank you for allowing me to stretch myself and to bring me the opportunities so I can experience my strength, my growth, my power, my ability to feel safe in this world. All right, here we go. First angel is Opal. You are a child of God. The second is now you ask God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. The third is yes, the timing is right for this new venture, which is, up and then out. Up is my connection to spirit. And again, I want to emphasize daily meditation might be difficult for some of us who have busy lives, but when we can combine that water element of the shower with our meditation and setting our intentions, it's very powerful, and it can be very powerful for our Pisces. Our final angel is Aurora, saying that you're flying high right now, don't descend. And that would be descending into, I think, in some ways, your mind. Kind of feeling like, if we think of Pisces as your first house, then we go Aries is your second house, Taurus is your third house, Gemini is your fourth house of home. So if the activity that's going on in Gemini is somehow conflicting to the truth of who you are, then allow yourself to broaden the experience by slowly implementing the things that you love. The page is a young energy. So to me, there's a sense of the novice here. And that novice energy is receiving the bounty that spirit is offering you. Opal is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. Fiona is being joined by the Raven. Isabella's being joined by the Movement card. And Aurora's being joined by the Owl. So when I go to my Pisces, oh yeah, that's hard sometimes not to see all the mounting nonsense in front of us. Opal is a child of God. Okay, God is watching over you. You are a child of God. Pisces rules spirituality and the connection to the angelic realm. It rules our ancestral ties. And here's the Lady of the Lake. The Lady of the Lake is about our deepest truth and the courage to hold on to that truth. And that could very well be, when we look at Pisces, there's a little bit of a challenge because the compassion and the empathy for somebody else's story can make you not even think about yourself. And that would be the wrong direction to go, honestly. Right now we have Fiona. Magic is afoot. Fiona is saying that God is bringing something into you, and it's coming quick. Something is coming very quickly. And the reason I say that is because Isabella and the Movement card are coming together. If I think about Jupiter and Mercury coming together in your fourth house, this could be where your beliefs start to broaden in such a way where you start to understand how maybe some of the more challenging experiences have brought something better to you. You know, the owl here makes me feel like contrasting experiences. Through something there, I have to stand in courage for myself, standing in alignment with God and the angels for what is most important to me brings a potential sense of duplicity, or a sense of, and that could be that Saturn stationing in the sky for almost the whole month of June. It moves about a degree. So that's going to be somewhere between 18 and 19 degrees. Wherever that is in your Pisces chart, you'll be holding steadfast there. Let's say your ascendant is around there within 2 or 3 degrees. Then this is about holding steadfast for you, your version of you, and staying very connected to your divinity so that spirit can start to bring in situations and opportunities for you to feel that connection in the earth plane. You're flying right now, high right now. Don't descend, which would be to give up or to go default back to an old pattern. Saturn is trying to break those old patterns that don't serve you and implement new patterns. And one of the strongest patterns it's implementing is the peaceful warrior, the divinity within. That's what I think. And when Mars and Saturn were having its conversation in your first house, that was about being brave to implement those structures from a faith-based place so that then spirit can bring them into your physical experience and anchor them in. And here it could be a whole reconciliation or some sort of awareness about how you nurture yourself, that fourth house, how your mind potentially goes back and forth to tell you contrasting stories or stories that feel conflicting. I'm not even going to how you were raised right now or your siblings or anything. I'm feeling that this is the home of the future, moving forward, this movement card in the angel's advice. The timing is right to move forward. Okay, now let's go on to our Aries. Now, Aries is experiencing quite a bit of stuff because Mars's energy right now is pretty much, it's been hanging around it was hanging around the North Node, then it moved on to Chiron. And having that conversation with Chiron, can really be kind of go two ways. I'll put it that way, because you can either see the wound, or you can see how the wound created the wisdom. And I think that's something that Aries has been walking through as it's experienced the square up there to Pluto in your 10th house, right? How do I want people to see me? How do I want to be perceived? The 10th house is not just our ambition. It's sometimes our reputation. And being Aries, your reputation can morph over the years as you hone the more challenging dynamics. But when we see Chiron and Mars together, in your first house, having a conversation, it feels like to me, like, are you looking for the audience to see that you've transformed, or can you see yourself first and then let everybody else figure it out later? Because some people will always see you the way they want to. I have a neighbor, I've been here 20 years. I have a neighbor who, when I first moved here, we just walked by each other. I never really talked to him or anything. And he decided that I was a mean girl. He just decided it. It was who he was. He's like, he used to always tell me I had a resting bitch face. And I said, you never talk to me. So whether I'm a bitch or not is really, there's no proof of that. That's just your impression. I've never even spoken to you. Now, subsequently over those years, I've given the guy a couch, given him my crock pot, well, let's put it this way. Everything I ever loaned him, he kept because it was so gross. He smokes like crazy and he slimed everything. But my point is that 20 years later, I let them borrow my parking space for 2 years, which is worth a buttload of money. And he still villainizes me as being a bitch, as nice as I've been to him. And you know what? I'm just done. He's a Scorpio. He ain't going to ever change his damn mind. And the other thing is he has not accomplished the things in his life. And he's a bit bitter. I'm going to be honest about it. And I've risen to the occasion. My point of telling you this story is sometimes Aries people are just going to make you something, whether or not you are that, it is irrelevant. They're going to slime you with it. So don't go for it. Move away from it. You don't need that nonsense. Your tarot card, my warrior friends, is give it a rest. Absolutely. Can you believe it? This is so poignant to what I was just saying. You are a hero, Aries. You are brave. And yes, it takes someone to be a little hot, okay? It takes something, a bit of fire to go out and be willing to do what other people aren't willing to do. And you can't please all the people all the time when you do that. So I think that's coming into play because for me, Mars is going to creep around on my ascendant. And I'm so excited about that. Move on. Because I hate those moments where I get super hot and pissed off. And I know I don't need to be. I know and those are old habits. But at least I have the awareness not to act on them. All right, Aries. We had a victory in the peaceful warrior. You love it. Then we have Bethany, self-care. Celeste is a new home, place of employment, or a shift in the way you're thinking. And Astera is reaching for the stars with your dreams and desires. Omega is being joined by the movement card. Bethany is being joined by the wealth card. Celeste is being joined by the focus card. Okay, I got it. And Astera is being joined by the truth card. I want to say this for my Aries because, when you can kind of put up with that first impression that people have when they go, oh, you're an Aries, and you just ignore them. You just go, who cares? You don't know what real Aries is. Because, man, I got to tell you, I've been seeing Knights of the Round Table in Aries energy for so long now. You are all really coming into a state of awareness that without that fire, you could get bowled over because I see victory in your transformation. And the transformation is knowing when to pull out your sword, not retiring it. It's sort of like, it's the transformation from the warrior that just pillages to the warrior that stands up for those that cannot stand up for themselves, because now is time to applaud yourself. The self-care that you've done and this opportunity to sort of take a rest from all that you've been battling, because this to me, Bethany is self-care, and here's that wealth card. This is bringing in harmonious wealth. It's bringing in peace of mind. If we think about Gemini for Aries is your third house. So this is where you have an opportunity to implement these divine laws of the universe as represented by Jupiter into your everyday thought process, as represented by Mercury moving into Gemini tomorrow. And you don't have to be perfect at it. It's just the growing awareness, because this is a shift in the way you're thinking, and that's taking care of yourself and bringing in wealth. The wealth is a plethora of experiences. It's not just money. It's feeling a sense of harmony around you, a sense of flow, because Astera is saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires, and the truth is coming. This is where I think Aries has passed the baton onto spirit to take the next lap of manifestation, meaning bringing in those people, the resources, the whatever the dynamics are, in order for you to feel that moving on to that next step, or moving into that next vibration, or taking that next brave leap into what's more authentic to your happiness in your life. Victory is being offered. I got to tell you, I feel very victorious right now, even though there's no signs yet. But I feel like time itself is a sign. I've been talking about, since last October, I've been having a challenge with people who think they hold authority over me. Nobody holds authority over me. But anyway, and I've been going through a process. It's been very slow, and it's required me to align to bigger entities than myself. And in doing so, I feel victory coming. I feel it in every piece of my bone. And I got to tell you, I'm excited. And I don't even need the reveal yet. That is alignment. So that's what I want to offer all of you. Now let's go to our final sign of the day, Taurus. All right, here we go. Taurus, this is a protecting energy. This character has been through a lot. He's been wounded, and he hasn't forgotten the wounds. That's very Taurian. Tauruses don't forget anything. They rule personal history, the imprint, the confidence that was built as a result of your family experience and how you perceived that. So let's go on to our final sign, our Tauruses. You still have Uranus hanging out in your first house. We have Aurora. You're flying high right now. Don't descend back into old habits. Don't let too much of yourself focus on a need to protect, to kind of know your home is already protected. Archangel Uriel is about frustration. Archangel Raphael is about healing. And Sonia is your team watching over you. Oh, this could be a beautiful baton pass. I have a 9-degree Taurus moon. I say that because my moon, sometimes lately, that moon wants to see something happen. That moon wants to see it in the real world. What did I say? Did I say something? I don't know. Okay, Aurora is being joined by Merlin. Archangel Uriel is offering a new beginning. Archangel Raphael, the novice is joining Archangel Uriel. The Grail Knight is joining Archangel Raphael. And the forgiveness card is joining Sonia. All right, for my Tauruses, something is happening for you right now where Spirit is saying, of course, we all want to be mindful, right? We watch the news. We know there's stuff going on in the world, crazy stuff. I can't help but think about the poor people that are just walking down the street minding their own business and somebody decides to cold cock them in the head. Like this is the kind of weird Pluto transiting the United States second house. This is what's going on there. But here I want to offer this because when you look at this, I think it's a little bit about paying attention to how much you're focused on feeling a sense of vulnerability. Because now Spirit is saying that justice, alchemy, and balance are coming in, and they're asking you to focus in on that, not on the challenge anymore. So every night before I go to bed, I don't know why I always been saying this lately, I'm thanking God for Lucky's health and for his skin feeling so good and for us being healthy to enjoy our reward. Because Taurus, you are learning something. You are starting to practice something about it doesn't do any good to hold on to the things that hurt us, because oftentimes they just anchor us into a place of frustration that stops our vibrations. So now I feel like I'm looking at Sir Lancelot. I'm going to seek the sacred in a situation. I'm going to seek the sacred within myself. And in doing so, it gives me a sense of balance, which then feels as if I'm healing. Because this is your team literally telling you that something is going to something is going to be revealed for you that will make you no longer feel a sense of having to protect. It almost feels that it may be where you feel so connected to your team on the other side that you suddenly know that when I'm connected in this way, I'm insulated from experiences that I otherwise would not be. People who are focused on the human dynamics sometimes don't realize how much is happening in the unseen realm. And there are certain people that experience really challenging things, but they are such divine souls that as they triumph and rise over those situations, they represent possibilities that other people would not expect. And when you look at this, from an earth point of view, when you look at the earth signs and they have these spiritual epiphanies and awarenesses and then connections, they become some of our greatest representatives of what can be in the physical. So it's really, this is a powerful spread. Overall, for my Tauruses, I want to say, just be mindful, like if you're protecting yourself or your thoughts are in a way that are somehow historically saying, I need to prepare for this bad thing, because it might never even happen. All right. Thank you, Susie. Oh, Lucky's diet. Let me just tell you how his diet rolls. Okay. No chicken, no beef. The kid is on forest and stream. He eats venison and fresh. I make salmon for him 3 times a week, the little strips, and I add them to his venison. He's getting lion's mane for his brain, and he's getting hawthorn berry for his heart. And he has a little lump on his right inner thigh, putting a little castor oil there to break that down. The kid gets a probiotic every day. He gets goats. This kid's diet beats, I'm telling you. The kid, I just finally turned the lock. I have a Pisces, and my Pisces boy has taught me so much about the physical body and his little, Pisces rules the liquids of the body, and Lucky, it can be a little bit, his allergies, his nose can run, his eyes can run, but he's taught me so much. Lucky, do you want to make an appearance to the crowd before we leave? No, he's sleeping. Let's see if I can get him, if you can see him. Hold on, let me see if I can turn. Don't look at him if my house is dirty. Hold on. There he is. Y'all see him? He's happy as a clam. And that little grease spot is the castor oil. Oh, all right. I'm back. Okay, everybody. We're going to, I also bought him Katherine Heigl's food. Which he flippin' goes, I don't feed it as food. I feed it as treats. I use it to play hide and seek. And I'm telling you, this dog goes crazy with the zoomies over this stuff. I think it's called Badlands Ranch. And yeah, it's pretty pricey, but he never needs flea medicine. There's a lot of good things about feeding a good diet, and his poops are perfect. All right. It's probably a little TMI there, but I want to thank you all once again for joining me on this Sunday morning. I'll be back next Sunday morning. I've given up on that whole twice a month kind of thing. It was just going to be too much. I'm just going to stay the course. So there we go. Once again, Small Wildflowers, I could never do anything for you. Without you. So thank you so much. Carnivore, I've never heard of that. I'll have to look that up. I buy him raw food. So his venison is literally, it comes out of the freezer, and the salmon, and then all of that. He loves his food. All right, everybody. Oh, 145 Club. Hi, I didn't even see you in the room. If I missed you, I'm sorry. The glare is kind of weird. I don't know, the lighting in my place is kind of weird. It's hard to believe it's June, but it is. All right, love you all. Sending lots of love to you. I'll see you next Sunday at 11 a.m. as per usual. Okay. All right, everybody. See you soon. And Small, text me your address. We'll get you some lottery tickets. All right, everybody. Bye.